Welcome to Nat'l, a weekly podcast about the celebrations occurring on that specific day. There will be some we know too well and some we have yet to hear of. Together, we'll learn something new, eat yummy food, and have a great time. There are some days that we celebrate that shouldn't be focused on a single day, week, or month. There are some days, such as April 22nd, also known as Earth Day, that should be celebrated every day. I see this planet as an extension of my home. I don't treat a house differently if I'm renting it versus buying it, because either way, it's something that provides me with comfort and security. I see this planet, Earth, the same way and greater, because this planet provides me the opportunity to be alive. Today on Nat'l, we talk about why Earth Day is specifically on April 22nd, why we don't seem to care about this day, and the little things that we can do to make it better.
The ecology movement that had been building through the 20th century would reshape American policy, industry, and attitude in the 1970s. This was seen in memorable moments of popular culture, like the decade's pervasive anti-pollution public service announcements.
The Earth Day movement started in the 70s. After witnessing a massive oil spill in California, Gaylord Nelson, who was a senator from Wisconsin at the time, came up with the idea to have a day that focused on the environment. The environment was largely ignored, and pollution became synonymous with success. Nelson gathered up a team to promote events across the nation. April 22nd was chosen because it fell between spring break and final exams. It was on this day, 46 years ago, that millions of Americans took to the streets and to auditoriums to demand a sustainable environment. The events were from coast to coast. The movement was so loud that it led to the creation of the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, also known as the EPA. After that, Earth Day became a global event, where millions of people around the world try to get politicians and the average person to hear them out, to hear that Earth is something that we all need to care about, that Earth Day is about us, and more importantly, our future.
Dr. Kaku, you're the expert here. Tell us before we go any further, how definitive is the evidence? Is there any room for debate?
Well, it's a free country. However, they should present the facts, and that is that the overwhelming majority of scientists in the world who studied the question believe that the temperatures on the planet are rising. And if there are skeptics, let them present their computer program so that we can pick it apart. Let us understand this, because science is testable, reproducible, and falsifiable.
Our home, or as NASA called it in 1972, the blue marble, is grazed from about 4.5 billion years of existence. It was here long before humans. But, much like humans, Earth isn't static. It constantly undergoes a bunch of changes no matter how imperceptible it may be. Why do humans struggle with caring about things before it personally affects us? There are always organizations or charities that pop up after someone was affected by that thing that hurt them. But they didn't care when the guy 2 cities away was dying from respiratory disease after mining the coal that is burned to light their home. It's not until that they have the respiratory disease that they're okay living without electricity. So is the problem ignorance? It's true that the education system is lacking important curriculum. So if you don't see it in school, then what are you left with? But then I noticed, when even big companies like Disney create subsections such as Disney Nature, nothing really changes. So now we're informed and still don't care. Disney Nature started in 2008 and released its first film, Earth, in 2009. After that, they released a new movie almost every year, always on Earth Day. Oceans, African cats, chimpanzee. Going to the movies to see bears is kind of just a cop-out though, or a way to just only become informed, but awareness isn't exactly a solution. The reality is that in time, we'll experience these effects or these changes. Perhaps not personally, but eventually.
There are naturally occurring gases, such as carbon dioxide and methane in the Earth's atmosphere. In themselves, they aren't bad. In fact, we need them in limited quantities to keep our atmosphere at just the right temperature for life as we know it to exist on Earth. But if we produce an excess of these gases, as we have, the temperature rises, as it has.
Trust me though, I understand the double-edged sword that exists. In general, some of the environmental issues would naturally occur anyway, but nowhere near as fast as it is now. So many people are employed in jobs that effectively destroy the planet, or just kind of forced to hurt the planet simply because of how cities are designed. But again, we need to see that our actions do make a difference, no matter how small. Whether or not the effects are reversible is kind of irrelevant. We should settle on a balance between realism and optimism, and promote technology that attempts to benefit society. So maybe instead of backing projects like the Sugar Skull Spoon on Kickstarter, which sure looks kinda cool, maybe instead, or equally, support the Edible Cutlery project on Kickstarter. When I saw this project on Kickstarter, I was reminded that there are still people out there trying to make only slight changes for the better. The project was started by Sarah Munir for Bakeys. The company Bakeys accepted the need for disposable cutlery, but also admitted the damage that plastic utensils have on our planet. And the best part is, they didn't just go for their first solution, which was corn. Making utensils out of corn was possible, but when they saw that the rate of degradation was low, they changed course because they still care about the cause. The solution they ended up with is a line of cutlery made from rice, wheat, and sorghum. The energy it takes to make one plastic utensil, Bakeys can make 100 edible utensils. And, if exposed to nature, it will degrade in 10 days, or be eaten by other animals, which is safe for them to eat too. Over the next year, they're working towards a few certifications, such as, but not only, dairy-free, gluten-free, no preservatives, no trans fat, vegan, kosher, non-GMO. The spoons even come in different flavors, such as sugar, carrot, cumin, and more. I hope that when these are on the shelf next to plastic utensils, you at least give it a try. That's an example of the little thing you can do to create change. Certain but minor modifications. Show with your actions that you care. Sometimes it's just the little things. Recycling, changing your habit from keeping the light on to turning it off as you're leaving the room, walking to the pharmacy, especially if it's just across the street. Bring your own bags to the grocery store. And what I found that helps me is that I keep it under my cart seat so it's a little bit more accessible than the trunk or the back seat. And, of course, just simply continue to learn about the changes occurring on our planet. There's virtually nothing that everybody on this planet can say that they share, except the planet itself. If we all did this, the impact would be huge. And if we don't, Earth's hospitality will end far sooner than it needs to. See the beauty of our home, the same way you saw the beauty of Pandora in Avatar. Appreciate what you have right here, because it's spectacular. Let's remember the history of our home, and take a moment to contemplate its future. I really want to thank you for listening. Feel free to email me questions or your thoughts at natlpodcast@outlook.com. That's NATL podcast@outlook.com. And I'll be sure to let you know how the edible cutlery tastes when it comes in the mail. Happy Earth Day!